um, I will be telling you stories from my job. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a waitress slash receptionist at a hotel with a restaurant as well. And I've been working there for 5 years. This summer it will be 5 years. So I have got a few experiences to talk about since dealing with customers and working in customer service. And I've never done a story time before, so I'm excited about this. Before we jump into the video, I just want to say that when you're working in customer service, you learn that the customer is not always right. And by that I mean, just because you pay for a plate of food, a cup of coffee, a hotel room, a service, a product of any kind, common sense and common manners still apply to you, in case you didn't know. So I've come across a lot of people, and this is something that happened many years ago now, maybe 4 years ago, could be during my first year of working at my job. There was this man, like you could tell from the get-go that this guy is grumpy, like he's in a bad mood. So he's checking in at the afternoon. I think he's checking in at like 2:30. And we normally, don't allow check-ins before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it depends on how busy we are. So sometimes we let people go to their room, earlier than 3 o'clock. So I think I checked him in at like 2:30. And he started like talking about dinner, if he could get dinner. In Finland we have dinner really early. And he was like his attitude was just off from the beginning. He was like, can you get any food around here? Like, is the restaurant open? And I was like, not at the moment. Like, we just finished lunch, but our dinner starts from 4 p.m. And he was like, okay, whatever. I have to go out on the town then and see if I can find some pizzeria or something, go and grab a pizza or something. Then we don't see this guy. For a couple of hours, and then he comes down to the reception and wants to use our sauna. So I give him the sauna card, so he gets into the sauna. And after that is when hell broke loose. He comes down to the reception, puts his room card on the desk, and is like, I've had enough, I'm leaving. And me and my coworker are like looking at him, looking at each other, looking at him, and he's like, and we're like, sir, like, sorry, what's going on? And he's like, first I come and check in. No, he said, this is the worst hotel that I've ever stayed at in my entire life. Dinner is not served at 2:30. You start serving that at 4. Like, it was like 4 o'clock was late to him because he wanted to eat something at 2:30. And then when I tried to use the sauna is so cold. Like, you put water on the stones and nothing happens. And we're like, sorry. And I was like, okay. I even went down to the sauna. I was like, okay, can you wait 2 minutes? I will go down to the sauna and make sure that it's, that it's on, and that it's not, not functioning or off or whatever the case may be. So I run down into the sauna, opens the door. It's hot. Like, it is hot. You can't sit there and be like, okay, there's no heat in the sauna. It was warm. I come back up and I'm like, sir, I don't know what you're talking about. The sauna is warm. And he's like, yeah, well, maybe to you it's warm, but not to me. And I'm like, and he's like, I want to leave. And at this point, it's like, it doesn't matter what we say to this guy. He's so upset that we're just like, okay, check out. Sorry about it, but bye. Like when someone is just so like crazy, all you can do is just be like, okay, we understand, bye bye. Then like he gives this nasty review online. He's like, this is the worst hotel I've ever stayed at. None of the personnel was speaking Finnish, which is a lie. We all speak Finnish. And it was like they didn't serve any food. Like that's also a lie. And just the sauna was ice cold, and it was just, oh, I'm never going back there. It was just a hot mess. Then one time I also remember, there's people who complain about like the sound of rain on the tin roof of the hotel, and it's like, yeah, well, we can't change the roof for you, madam. We can't do that. And there was also one time there was this hotel guest that came down to the reception, and he was like, can you please come and check? There's a buzzing sound in my room. And my coworker was like, yeah, let me come and check it. I'll follow you. Like, I'll go check what the problem is. And this happened to my coworker, so this doesn't happen to me. But she told me, of course, when she came back, they went into the room, and it was like this, like there was a buzzing sound in the room, and they were like, she was looking around and he was looking around, and he had put his suitcase on his bed. After a while, my coworker like looks at his bag and is like, sir, the buzzing sound is coming from your bag. And this guy, his face turns so red, like he obviously had some kind of toy in his bag that was buzzing. And when that like hit him, like he was so ashamed, and he didn't even say, he could have said, oh, it's my toothbrush went off in the bag. He didn't say anything. It was red like a tomato in his face. And my coworker, she was like, okay, I have to get out of this room as soon as possible before I'm like losing it. I'm cracking up. So she was like, okay, you have a good night, sir. And then she ran out, and then she came down and she was like, you don't know what just happened to me. You don't know what just happened to me. So that was a fun, but I mean that he didn't think of that himself, or that he didn't play it off and was like, oh, my toothbrush, or, my whatever. Like, he didn't even make up an excuse. He was just red in the face. And then there's another story. We once had a big New Year's party. We didn't stand for the invitation. We just took care of the food and the drinks and so on. So we didn't get to decide who gets to come. We were just, we were just catering, And then this elderly man calls and talks to me, and he's like, yeah, I heard about this New Year's party that you're hosting. Like, me and my dad really want to go. And I'm like, oh, that's fun, but we are not the ones who are in charge of invitation. Like, there's a different woman that takes, all the invitation and gets to decide who gets to come and who don't. We just take care of the food, of the drinks. And he's like, okay, well, I kind of already promised my dad that he could go. It's his 80th birthday. And I'm like, sir, as I just told you, I can't decide who gets to come to this party. Like, there's this other woman who does that, who's like in charge of the party. Yet again, we are just hosting, and catering with the food and the drinks. Like, we don't get to decide who comes. And he's like, whatever, I'm just gonna call back tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. Then he calls the next day, and my coworker picks up the phone and she says the same thing. She's like, sorry, sir, like, we are not the ones who, takes the invitation. Like, you have to contact this other woman who's, in charge of the party. And he's just like, but we want to go. Like, this guy is impossible. And then he says to my coworker, okay, I'm just gonna call back tomorrow. And we're like, oh my god, he's gonna call a third time for sure. And like what doesn't this guy understand? Then the refrigerator is making noise. Then he calls again. This is like the third day in a row. And I pick up the phone. And he's like me and my father are, he's just like, me and my father are coming to this party. And I'm like, I don't really know what to tell you. We are not the ones who, do the invitations. We're not in charge of the invitation. We don't get to, decide who gets to go and who doesn't. We're in charge of the food. But I can give you the number if you want to call, the hostess. And he's like, no, I don't need to talk to her. We're coming to this party. And I'm just like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, then the day comes around, the day of the party, and the people start showing up. And I was actually off that night, so I didn't get to see this guy. But then this guy had, come to the desk and been like, so which one of you are Emma? I just want to let her know that we're here now. And my coworkers were like, that man really thought that I somehow didn't want him to come to this party. It was like I was the one who got to decide if they could go or not. Like, it's so absurd. Like, are you Emma? Like, just coming into the restaurant with this biggest attitude. And I'm like, I'm so glad that I didn't work that day, because I would just have been like, whatever, dude. Something's clearly off with you. So that was a little story time. If you want me to do more videos like